Hey guys, welcome back to the Money Show, episode 24. It's Elise and happy Tuesday. We're going to talk about, first, we're going to ask ourselves a question, which I'll give my answer a little bit Go ahead and think about your answer now so you can share it in the discussion. But the first question tonight is, can you tolerate high risk investing? And that mainly was the reason due to Warren Buffett and what he did recently. And I was like, that seems brilliant, but to me, it seems a little bit high risk. While you're at it, please go ahead and like this video. And thank you guys always for supporting. So in today's table of contents, we're going to be talking about automakers losing profit Q2 for the most part, and what this means for the rest of the year and moving forward. At least short term. And when I say short term, like the next few years. Then we're also going to talk about Warren Buffett's United Healthcare investment. He has started to invest in things. He has been holding off, and I guess he finally sees this as worthwhile. And we're going to talk about or opine about why he might think this is a worthwhile investment, because he's been sitting on cash for probably about a year now. And we're going to talk about gold prices. You know, I've been following it throughout 2025, and I will continue until at least the end of 2025. So the first topic is about struggling car makers. And I put a picture up here of a few of them that were mentioned in this article that I found on Yahoo Finance. And basically the Q2 reports are here, which ended at the end of June, and we're in the middle of August. And the Q2 reports are looking dismal at the moment. And these companies are reporting that they're losing operating income. And if you have a lower operating income, your profits are not going to be as high because you don't have as much money as you used to operate the business. Toyota reported losing $3 billion in Q2. Volkswagen reported $1.5 billion. General Motors, which is an American company, lost a little bit over $1 billion, Honda almost $1 billion, and Ford almost $1 billion. And the reason that this is happening is twofold. And one of them is that if you are a car company that imports a lot of stuff, either imports a lot of your fleet or imports a lot of the parts that you use to make the cars here, you are losing because you are now having to pay for a 15% tariffs. And I say that because most cars now that we know have some type of production in America, even though they are foreign headlined or foreign owned, that had already been a process of them moving some of their production to America. But them even transferring the parts or transferring the already made cars here is costing them more than it did a year ago. Namely, Honda and Toyota, they have a lot of their stuff that is imported into America, even though they do create a lot of cars here in America. And then another way that you could be losing if you are an automaker is your operating expenses. If you are making some of your cars in Mexico and Canada, and that deals with a lot of American brand cars. So Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, they have kind of outsourced the production of their cars to those countries, because these three countries, Canada, America, and Mexico, have like some type of trade agreement to have been doing this for years. That's even more expensive because it's 25%. So it's weird because they are American made cars. They kind of outsource to kind of stay up to times with how manufacturing is made, and they are suffering. Good evening, East Boogie. Thank you always for showing up and supporting. Hope you are doing well today. So what are these car makers going to do? The market response could possibly be to produce these cars in America or raise prices. But producing the cars in America, which is, I think, the whole point of the tariffs, to have more manufacturing here, is going to be billions of dollars for these companies, which, I mean, 3 billion, 1 billion, they're already losing it. What's another 1.2 billion? But these manufacturers are not willing to change yet in this 3-year horizon, because that is pretty much what is left in this current administration. And what happens if the next president doesn't care about tariffs and gets rid of them? Tariffs are middle of the road popular. Some people are for them, some people are not. So they don't want to make this drastic change that's going to cost them billions of dollars if it's not necessary. And what I think they're going to do is they're going to try to ride it out. So maybe they're going to start forecasting that their profits aren't going to be as high these next few years. That is a possibility. But the actual changes they're doing right now that are cheaper than actually pulling production from outside of America to America and making these big factories to manufacture, here they are choosing to do things that are more affordable, and that would be moving higher profit model production to America. And that's why I put these pictures of these trucks here, because trucks are a bigger business for a lot of at least American makers. I don't know about the foreign makers, but GMC, Chevy, their trucks and SUVs tend to be higher profit vehicles. So they're thinking about moving that production to stateside manufacturing plants. There are also some companies are saying that they're going to add more shifts in America and probably decrease some shifts over abroad, wherever they're at. And they're also thinking about increasing finance charges. And how that works is not necessarily the percentage rate of your APR, but those fees that they say they're going to charge you for those transactions, which are usually like $500 to $800 fees, just because you're getting a loan. They are thinking about making those fees larger. So instead of it being $500, they may be $1,000 now. Instead of them being $800, they may be $1,200. That's what they're thinking about doing to kind of increase their margin, because they're losing at the moment. Q2. I don't know about Q3. This is looking unsustainable though. And the article mentioned that prices may go up soon, as early as 2026. And I give them credit for not doing it already. Even though it's only about 8 months into this current administration, they could have been doing that right now. Some people are thinking it's because they're trying to get rid of their pre-tariff inventory, so there was no need to increase prices, but in making the new cars, they may have to. And I have a question about that though, because you can increase the prices, but what if the people can't afford the prices right now? And the economy takes time. It's not immediate. If people can buy the prices now, because there's an argument, well, they're only priced that way because people are buying it. That's true. But in 6 months to a year, they might not be able to afford these prices, let alone making them more expensive. So that's the only thing that I think about as far as this is concerned. But yes, I do give them credit for not lifting it already. Now we're going to go to the next topic. Please, guys, there are 3 of you guys in here, please like the video. That really helps it be pushed out to other people who care to talk about things in the economy and money news. All right, so for the next thing, this is where the question comes into play. I asked, can you tolerate high-risk investing? And then my answer, because I like to share my answer, is no. I am not a high-risk investor at all. I get notifications from my 401k people telling me, oh, you could stand to make your allocation, I guess, more riskier due to my age. But I just have never. Shana Agenor says, yes, he can tolerate high risk investing. I wish I could be like you. I don't know. I've always been more cautious with my money. I do like to invest. East Boogie also says yes. I can't do it, y'all. And that's probably a money trauma of mine. And that's okay. All I can say is I understand I could be riskier, but my conservatism in that is doing well for me and projected to do well. Now, if I could go riskier and make like double, but I'm comfortable where I'm at. And I'm imagining, Agenor says, high risk all day. I'm imagining, I was just about to say about you guys who are willing, y'all don't care about that. You don't want to leave any money on the table. I'm okay with leaving some money on the table as long as I'm comfortable. So as far as a topic, Warren Buffett is starting to purchase things. And this is important because he's been sitting on cash for almost a year. Like last year or to the beginning of this year, I'm not exactly sure. I said it a few episodes ago. He sold a lot of stakes in what I would say is financial. So he sold a lot of Bank of America. He sold a lot of Citi, which is like a credit card company. And he did that because it's better to sell high versus sell low because you lost all your profit beginning of the year. Thank you. But he has decided to increase his stake in the insurance business. And I'll talk about that later because he already has a stake in it, but it's a different type of insurance. But a few episodes ago, I also mentioned that health insurance companies are not doing well. Warren Buffett saw this as a sign and just bought 5 million shares of United Healthcare, which those shares are valued at almost a little bit more than $1.5 billion. And he's already made money off of those shares alone. But United Healthcare is having problems because in December, their CEO was unalived. So they're dealing with the reeling of their stock price from that. And also a few months ago, they were notified that there was a criminal and civil investigation into how they were processing Medicare claims. That caused their stock to go crazy. So as far as their 12-month history, August, since it's August right now, I decided to look back into August. Their stock was as high as $580, almost as high as in the year. Then in December, when their CEO was unalived, it went down to $485, which is significant, about 20%. It did go up August 2025 to $600, which was high, which is awesome, I guess, which is weird because in April, that's when we kind of had that large dip in the Dow Jones where it went down $3,000. They were fine at some point in April. Then in May, it went down even more than it went down before to $311. And last week, they were as low as $237. And I believe Warren Buffett did this within a week. So he might have got it at this $237. And today, it's a little bit more at $303. And this is why you invest if you have money, because Warren Buffett has probably been watching this. And when let's say his number was 250, he said he was going to invest some millions of dollars when this thing was 250 if he's been watching it since it's been almost $600. And he's probably just a numbers person who was like, if it ever gets there, I'm going to put my money into it, because his whole point is at some point it's going to get back to that $5.99. And that man is just so smart. So already he's made $15 million because once people saw that he did it, people followed him and started buying too. And that's why the price went up and it got more expensive. Yesterday's price is not today's price. And that was the Warren Buffett effect. And ultimately, he finally saw something where profit was possible. He's been sitting on this cash because he's like, everything's too expensive. There's no point. There's no way if I invest at the height of the market, then I'm going to get more. He waits till things are lowest part of the market, and $237 as opposed to $600 is pretty good. And that's why I said he's like so smart. He got this stock at a 60% discount. And it's a perfect example of his saying that you need to be greedy when others are scared. And that's why I put in the question earlier, are you a high risk investor? Can you tolerate it? Warren can, Shedner can, and so can East Boogie apparently. But I can't. But he strictly looked at the numbers. I would be considered scared at this point. But it still might be a good point it's only at $300, and we know that it can get to at least $600. Maybe it can get to $800 at some point. So this is why if you have any extra money, it's important to invest. Why not? Now, as far as healthcare is going, I think it might take some time. There's probably going to have to be some reform, because these healthcare companies are going to have to pay a lot more money. With Medicaid being drastically cut, they're not going to get government money. So they're going to have to pay out more money, and that is going to mess up their bottom line. But we shall see how it goes. But shout out to Warren Buffett, because he's just smarter than us. That's all I got to say. And then the last topic today is about gold pricing. As of August 19th, which is today, it is $3,332. It has gone down a little bit. It's a little bit more affordable than the last time that I came to you guys, but it's not at its peak, which is $100 more. That's pretty much it for this episode, guys. To wrap up, car companies are eating tariffs, and 2026 eating tariff costs. And 2026 will give us some more details about car pricing, if it's going to go up because people are still willing to buy, or if it goes drastically down because people can't afford to buy at what they are in 2025, let alone an increase in 2026. Warren Buffett is starting to buy stuff now. So I will be looking at things that he's buying. And hopefully, if I can feel I can afford it, maybe I'll start buying too. I'm not going to buy into UAC at this moment, $235. But I share because maybe you guys want to. And also, gold is still a commodity and it's not being tariffed at the moment. That is the end of this episode, guys. We keep moving forward, and I will see you guys next Tuesday, 8:30. Bye.